What if the ancient Om symbol and the Ankh hold the key to understanding the current creation of humans? What if the organic creation on this planet was manipulated by mimicking the original creation through the solar system? Through my visits to Luxor, Egypt, and connection to a priest in Bali, some interesting information came forth on our ancient past and how it plays into our current reality. The organic and inorganic creation is seen in the hieroglyphics and scriptures of ancient cultures. One of the ways this became evident to me was through my personal experience with the Ankh. The Ankh is the symbol of eternal life. On a trip to Egypt 7 years ago, I received information through the Ankh. It is known by some that in the ancient temples of Egypt, you can put your third eye directly onto the Ankh hieroglyphic and download information. When visiting the temples, look for the hieroglyphics of the Ankh that are discolored black. These are the most potent areas for connecting. The temple areas that in the past only the priests were allowed to enter is where you will find these spots. I channeled 7 years ago that the round part of the Ankh was the sun, and that if you hold the Ankh up to the sun and let it stream through with the water or sea below you and the electricity of the magnetic field below that, creation comes. In talking to a priest friend on my return from Egypt to Bali in 2025, he commented that the Ankh symbol resembles the Balinese Om. I had not noticed that before he stated this. Now, looking at the Om symbol in various cultures, I see the similarities. The Ankh is, in fact, the symbol of eternal life, creation. Om is the symbol of creation. Using the information on what the Balinese Om represents, it gave me a few more answers in regards to the meaning of the Ankh. The Balinese Om adds a star to the top of the sun. This is interesting, as in the hieroglyphics in Egypt, the gods, star beings, are holding the Ankh. The fact that this revelation came in gave confirmation to what I was downloading. Additionally, the arms in the Ankh represent the moon in the Balinese Om and also refer to the soul. If these ancient symbols tell a similar story, which I believe they do, it would mean that the Ankh also is related to the moon and the soul, where the arms go out. I had been getting downloads that the interference from the moon had to do with manipulation of soul programs. These downloads and experiential experiences were not new to me. If you have traveled to ancient sites around the world, you will note that they are deep in the knowings of creation. Also, when I say soul, I'm referring to the coding in the water of creation, our coding, not the spirit that was and still is the essence of ongoing energy, the soul coded to the solar system. This was, as I download, interfered with, as described in the last video. The organic evolution of the planet had to do with the energy of the creation of the galaxy. This was with the water, the coding, the energy light, the sun, the electrical charge, which is the magnetic balance between the earth, planet, stars, and sun. This is in the natural evolution and dissolution one day, the ebb and the flow. The balance is organic. The organic flow is continuing to this day. However, a non-organic flow is also happening. This is in the ancient texts and teachings of these ancient cultures, the star beings that came down to earth. It is interesting to note that the Om symbols of ancient cultures speak to creation. Some have the star, some don't. So when did this planet go from organic, only creation, which I also equate to within self to without, to non-organic creation, from internal to external? When did our being of one and unity go to the external? I channel this happened before Atlantis in smaller ways, but from Atlantis times to now, we have been in the cycle of inorganic. with the organic, of course, still running as it is the pure source creation. What most tap into, though, is the inorganic creation, what is referred to as the matrix. It is interesting to note not only the use of the Ankh by the gods or star beings, but also the use of the rod. The rod is connected to the Ankh, which is the key of life, in many of the hieroglyphics at Abydos, for example. The rod is connected from the earth to the god's hand. It reminds one of a dosing rod. The energy of the water, electricity was brought in through the rod to the Ankh, the key of life. It relates to organic creation that was taken to the inorganic, beings utilizing the magnetic energy of the earth as well as external energy sources for that matter. The original coated water was also purest, deep within the ground. There are also hieroglyphics depicting human bodies with animal heads. Anubis is the ancient Egyptian god associated with mummification, the afterlife, and the protection of the dead. He is typically depicted as a jackal-headed man or a full jackal, and is famous for guiding souls to the afterlife and overseeing the weighing of the heart ceremony. However, there are non-god animal head depictions in the hieroglyphics as well. These I found shown as protectors in the tombs, especially in the Valley of the Queens. I also found these hieroglyphics in Dendara, in the crypt, utilized by the priests in ancient times. In the crypt in Dendara, there are depictions of what appears to be genetic modification. It is interesting, as the human frog and human dog are also depicted in this crypt, in the hieroglyphics. The energy in this place is very potent. I also witnessed something very interesting in regards to the history of genetic modification. I saw a depiction of a person kneeling in what looked like a bowl, holding onto something on either side. You could say this is a person being created in a petri dish. I had originally tapped into cloning on my trip 7 years ago. This last visit, I also saw a hieroglyphic of an Ankh with human arms and hands holding the rod in the dish in the Temple of Horus. This is interesting as the dish could represent holding water. The rods are from the water and ground up, and the Ankh represents the key of life or creation. Finally, I saw this depiction of a human and the Ankh above the human. This was held by a god or star being. What I downloaded from this is the ancient purse you see in other ancient sites. What is possibly inside that purse, information for the inorganic creation of mankind. If you'd like to learn more about this or other things in regards to our ancient origins, feel free to go on my website and download my free ebook, which has more details in regards to my Egypt visit, our ancient origins, and other topics I haven't covered in the last few videos. As always, take what resonates, leave the rest, and may this, if nothing else, awaken your own cosmic knowings, for that is the most important thing. Love and blessings.